Good morning, class. How are you? The teacher's early to class today. Hold 1 minute, please. I know, you're right. I should have done this. Okay, well, I just decided to move things up by 45 minutes. On the fly. Hey, Running Bear. Mom of a Gladiator, good morning. Hey, Zen. You know what? I did not realize that Emmy from Headstones and Headlines, I thought hers said 9:55. So after I did the video and I went out and turned on my TV, I saw her thumbnail and I was like, shit. Because I hate to do that. And listen, if you're not subbed up to Emmy, please do. She is truly such a sweet, kind girl. Betty may not think so, but fuck Betty. Betty doesn't like anybody. She is so supportive of everybody. She is always here for me. And I thought, you know what? I don't need to sit around on my couch for the next 45 minutes, just getting more pissed at, the people that never stop. Y'all, I promise this is coffee. And I did go haul ass out into the kitchen to make, this is what I keep, cup number 2 of this stream, number 4 of the morning, but as I was out there, I thought, God dang, is it too early for a friggin' White Claw? It's Sunday. I'm having family over anyway later on today. So this works out fine. Hi, Linda Fontaine. How are you? Glitching. Uh-oh. Hey, K-Mash. Audacity. Happy Sunday. Good morning, Glenda. Blank screen. Good morning. Emily Biz. Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, welcome. I hope I aim to please. So I will do my best to make your... Oh, it's your maiden voyage on a live. Okay. Hi, hippie. Oh, Emmy, I was just explaining to the class why I was early. And that's because I saw you had a thumbnail scheduled at 11. And I didn't even look. I just made mine at the same time. And I got done everything I needed to do. And I was just telling everybody how you are so gracious and kind. You always show up for me, always. So I thought, you know what? There's no reason I can't take my ass in there 45 minutes early and let's get this party started. Holy shit. Yesterday, I was blessedly YouTube free. Let me tell you what I did yesterday. Oh, Emmy, trust me, girl, my pleasure. TT the Good Tiffany, good morning. First, before I tell you what I did yesterday, which is actually true crime related. Holy shit, can you believe it? No, I don't mean the true criminals who have channels in true crime. No, I mean like the worst criminals. I have to quantify that. But first, I haven't had a chance to go through the comments. I've glanced at them, but I haven't had time to respond. Why was it premiere and not a live stream? Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the more of us that talk about bitch, you call her blowhole, I call her bitch hole. And for those of you who maybe are new, let me explain what the term bitch hole refers to. Hey, B-Tim. A bitch hole that's a term that my husband coined, decades ago. And a bitch hole, is a bitch who resides firmly between these two places. When just calling someone a bitch, well, it's not quite enough. And unless you're a trash bag like Veda, and you're a lady, you don't use the word "see you next Tuesday" much as, oh God, if ever there was a collection of bitches who deserved that moniker, well, would you like that list in alphabetical order? How would you like me to give it to you? So my husband, who's incredibly witty and smart, well, for some reason, he just came up with this word. We were watching TV one day and he goes, "Oh my God, what a bitch hole." And I'm like, what the hell's a bitch hole? And so there you go. I think we should add it to the YouTube lexicon as, that'll just be my contribution to the vernacular. Hair dye out of a white. Oh, girl, didn't you hear it was about 2 months ago. I decided to do a DIY dye job in my white deep sink in the laundry room. My husband was not home, and well, let's just say I went about my DIY project much like Betty goes about her DIY bleach jobs, except thank God my DIY dye job had much better results. So maybe this will work for you. This is what I did, and it's not a porcelain sink. It's acrylic. My deep sink. I had a T-shirt that I loved. It was kind of like this color, and it had Burnt Betty. Well, that's a new name. Oh, B. Tim. Yeah, bitch. You don't tell us when we move on. Like I said in the video, when somebody I give a shit about asks me to stop, I will. Can you believe? I mean, hold please. I'm getting to her. Back to the DIY dye job. I had a T-shirt that was similar to this color, and it had a graphic on it, and it was all kind of like this grayish black. I got something on it. I was going to have to throw it out. I realized I had a bottle of RIT liquid neon green dye. And I thought, oh, well, tie-dye seems to be pretty popular on these streets. No, not really. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pitch the shirt anyway. How much worse could I make it by dyeing it green? Well, when you use RIT, for anybody who knows, you're supposed to do it in like a big stock pot on your stovetop in boiling water. It's a whole thing. Well, I've been known, much like Betty, DIY shortcuts the hair bleach. Well, I've been known to shortcut a DIY project instructions. I'm not exactly patient in that regard. So that's what I did. I decided, well, you know what? My deep sink gets very hot. It's close to boiling. I'll just do it in there. And it worked. And it also made my deep sink neon green. And I thought, well, gee, my God, my husband has the longest fuse on earth. I think I've only seen it blow twice. And even that, in terms of a fuse blowing, minimal. For him, it was epic. But I knew that if I didn't get that sink cleaned up, I might be meeting time number 3. So I used a combination of bleach, straight, and a scrub brush. And then, believe it or not, I don't even know why I did this. Oh, I know, because it was sitting on the counter and I was too lazy. Whatever other stuff I was going to try. So I had a bottle of Shout, and I just started. Now, don't make sure the bleach is done. Make sure everything has come up with the bleach first. Do not mix the bleach and the Shout. You'll have some kind of a a gas cloud, much like Betty probably has when she burns her hair off. So yeah, try that. And hey, listen, I tell you guys all the time, I'm a humanitarian at heart. I'm all about giving back. And hey, there you go. Before I tell you what I did yesterday, and then we move on to the main event. And hello to everybody coming in. Bee's Knees, good morning. I see you, Mike Stevens. Who's the Birkin lady? Jane Birkin? She died? Oh, she was an OG supermodel, and Hermes met her on a transcontinental flight, and she was complaining about not having the perfect handbag. And because she was such an icon, Hermes made that bag. The Birkin bag was designed and named after Jane Birkin, former supermodel. Oh, that's really sad. Well, Jane, wherever you are at the catwalk in the sky, job well done. Catherine, good morning. Mitten Mama, good morning. Hi, Lisa Oldhams, how are you? CK, hello. Okay, anyone? Oh, backup backup hipster, Audacity, good morning. Okay, I think I'm getting back towards the top. Bama Trucker, good morning. Mike Stevens, I believe you are. That would be the jerkin bag, not the the Birkin bag. Oh, well, those of you who know what a merkin is, well, that might have been a Freudian slip. Yeah, if it was designed for PayPal now, then that would be the jerkin bag or the merkin bag, but definitely not the Birkin bag. Anybody, I'm not going to get sidetracked down that road at the moment, but anybody who wants a little tutorial on Hermes and their various bags, etc. We can do that one day, just not today. Listen, once the dirt bag, I can move on to more important things. But until that time, got to. Oh, B-Tim, she is an absolute piece of shit. She is trash. She is a bag of shit. She is a shit bag. Yes, Zap Girl. SCAB-GIRL. Yes, SCAB-GIRL, as I have named her. Oh, Mike, listen, it's way too early to start, Emily. And any other mods? Do what you got to do whenever you got to do it. You don't have to give me I don't need any heads up, nothing. Y'all do what you got to do. Okay. To the comment that asked me about my lipstick. I wasn't sure which one. So I wear all of these. They're all pink. I brought them all in. Rather than me typing it, here we go. Jeffree Star. I usually mix them. They're all a similar hue. Jeffree Star, this is Pink Rebellion or pink something. Tom Ford. Sorry. I know. I know it sucks to forever be associated with that fat ass bitch, but what can you do? Raise your prices. Unfortunately, you can't get this anymore. I had to pay black market price for it. NARS. Shipe. Shipe. I know they still make that. And this one came from Boots in London, which is like their Walgreens. It's Berry M. They're basically all the same color. Ah, shit. All right, I don't want to mess up my brand new t-shirt. Got to take care of this little accident, pardonnez-moi. Oh, that's right. I've got my little napkins here, my paper doll napkins. Okay, so you know what I did yesterday, you guys? And anybody who's interested in the Gilgo Beach suspect, Hewerman, what's his name? Ron Hewerman, I believe that's his name. Years ago, I remembered watching a docu-series. I watched it on Amazon at the time, but it was an A&E series. I went back and watched the entire thing yesterday. It's 8 episodes. It's fantastic. You will be on the edge of your seat. And it starts off with Lisk and Gilgo, and it goes all over the country. And I will tell you this. I started it yesterday afternoon. I finished it last night. I didn't tell you the name. It's called The Killing Season. I finished it last night around 11 o'clock. And I thought, oh shit, I have got to like wash this out of my brain. Y'all, it's very disturbing. Okay. They give you a look into things you've never thought about before, and just some very scientific information, statistics used to kind of determine how many of these monsters walk amongst us. And if you think they're rare, they're not. So hey, Gina Diamond, when I got done watching that, I knew, like, I knew I wasn't going to sleep. And I didn't want to even try and go to sleep with that on my head. So, like the true old lady that I am, I watched PBS Masterpiece Theater, which I love, and I don't care. You can bust on me for it. I watched something else I highly recommend, Howard's End. Many people have seen the movie with Anthony Hopkins. I think it's been a series on something else. It was a book originally. It's a fantastic story. Stars was the production company on that. And it was 4 episodes and it was great. Y'all, I got like 3 hours sleep last night. I absolutely could not turn my mind off. And it was one of those things where the last time this happened to me, it was when I watched on Hulu that, it was about the opioid crisis. What was it called? Sicko, or no, that wasn't it. At any rate, I've noticed as I've gotten older, when I'm bothered by things, I don't necessarily realize it until it's done. And it's not like, and I was not laying there thinking about it. That wasn't it. But this morning, I finally, at about 4:30, turned off the TV. I'm just like, I have to go to sleep. And I said, I almost came and got on YouTube, and I was like, oh yeah, because that's what you need to just complete the nightmare. So I made a little deal with myself. I said, okay, if you're still up at 5:30, then fine, get up, throw on the towel. I did end up going to sleep, but I was up at 7:30. And now, in the light of a new day, I know that's what that was. It was me. That's how bothered I was by it. But it's, I'm not sitting here going, oh, well, I can't sleep because, I have a soul and a conscience and all this gross shit weighs on me. Okay. Hey, Bama G. Good morning. Is Mike still here? Okay, just behave, Mike. All right, so as I was watching yesterday, so yes, y'all, if you are interested, and I answered my own question, because when this arrest happened on Friday, I asked, I said, why are they calling him the Gilgo Beach Killer? I thought it was Lisk. Well, that is, I watched that years ago when it came out, and I just hadn't been following it because there really hadn't been any movement. But now, B10, would that be Irish coffee or? I don't know why people defile coffee putting liquor in it. All right, now let me remember if I can, how do I say this? Don't tell me. SD Oneer, is that right? If not, I'm sorry. Let me just read a little copyright disclaimer. You know, I rushed in here so fast that I didn't get the things queued up, but that's okay because they're in my let's see, what do I want to start with here? Oh, for those of you who might not have seen it, I want to read the comment I left for SCAB-GIRL on her. This was on her original post right after she, did what will hopefully live in infamy in the halls of the drama, true crime housing project swamp as the worst thing anyone's ever done. Let's hope this never gets topped. It's going to be real difficult, but I'm sure some scumbag out there, in pursuit of the almighty dollar and internet fame, will try. But this is what I left. I took a screenshot of it because I had a feeling that it would either disappear or it would never. Some people have to approve their comments. I don't know what she does, but okay, so this is the comment I left on her first her post on, where she tried to explain what she did. It was the first community post she made at this time. Hey, Mama Bear, good morning. Still in leather. How are you? I love that name. Heather B. Beachy, good morning. Okay, so this is the comment I left. What you're detached from is the place where your heart and soul should be. Congratulations. You have taken the exalted first place trophy in the center spot on the tragedy pimp dais for being the most vile, inhumane, depraved, cruel tragedy pimp on this platform. The only people standing by your amoral actions are your fellow tragedy pimps, especially the one you unseated and took the gore porn purveyor crown from. I'm sure BHB is penning a thank you note with her crayons as I type this. As far as you being threatened, well, sometimes you reap what you sow. And FYI, unfortunately, there are many unstable people out here on this internet. And apparently, according to you, even the people who victimize others feel some type of way about your abhorrent behavior. Maybe you should have considered that before you decided to further traumatize a grieving family by profiting off of their unimaginable loss. I don't wish harm on you or anyone, but I also won't lose a minute of sleep when Lady Karma comes to visit you. And when she does, she isn't polite and she doesn't call ahead of time to announce her arrival. She also seems to choose the most inopportune time to arrive. And she doesn't knock Nope, she just kicks your doors right off the hinges. Since you're such a fan of science, just remember Sir Isaac Newton's third law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Ellipsis, ... It applies to all things in our lives. If I thought you were more mammal than reptile, I would do as basically every other comment I've read here, and I would urge you to remove this disgusting content and apologize to the family that you have further victimized. But you see, I don't waste time on futile endeavors, and that request would be lost on you. Don't worry though, Betty said you can come sit next to her. Oh yeah, you better bone up on your conversational skills, because while she's happy to defend a fellow amoral tragedy pimp, she does find you boring. So just keep that in mind. I'm a big fan of irony, and I just love it when someone's outer ugly is commensurate to their inner ugly. So that was the first comment. I didn't leave any more comments for her because, like I said, futile endeavor. And what? Hold on, I'm looking at some. I have not addressed Natasha Cooper. Listen, she's not even supposed to be here. But if people want to see me drag that fat, nasty bitch for filth, oh, I'm happy to do that. And what did she say? She may be fat. Oh, Natasha, girl, do you own that recliner, or do you lease it from like Buddy Buy-Ride or Aaron's Rents, one of those places? I was just wondering. Yeah, because those are the kinds of places like, yeah, dippity do. Oh, listen. I will never, ever understand anyone who stands by this in any way, shape, form, or fashion, whether you want to play the fucking semantics game like Laura and say, oh, well, I know I'm not condoning what she did, but I condone her right to do it. Well, then you're fucked up too. So whether it's that, or whether it's some shit bag like Natasha Cooper, Trash Bag Betty, all these people. But I am even further baffled when women who have their own children get behind this. You are sick bitches, and I feel terribly for your children, because truly I can't. I cannot find the words. I don't. There's nothing in my mind. There's not one thing anybody could say to make me understand this, and I don't want to understand it, because if I could understand it, I would be them. And I ain't them, not in any way. So, and I will not use Gannon's name, but this skank, scab girl, the ghoul, what's Clara call her? Ghoul girl. Oh, I will use that bitch's name until I'm told not to by somebody I care about. I am more than happy to exploit them, and spare me the, well, you're bringing attention to it by keep talking about it. We all should be talking about it. She should not be on this platform. I mean, what is next? If this is allowed to stand, okay, so what's next? Because who did I hear say this? I've heard several people. Unfortunately, at the moment, I can't remember anyone specifically. But what's next? Because, the next one who wants their come up off the back of other people's tragedies, like her skanky ass, well, you're going to have to do a little more than this. I mean, so what is next? Are we going to live stream somebody's? And the same ones will probably stand behind that too. Well, they said it's what they wanted. What's wrong with me watching it? They're going to do it anyway. I mean, I can hear it all now. She should be run out of this place on a fucking rail. And I can't believe that she would actually, I didn't think this could get worse. All you need to know about all the meaningless lies, in my opinion, that fell out of her face is the fact that she's ready to move on. Well, bitch, I'm not ready to move on. And I'm going to keep talking about you. Unless and until I'm told that I can't. And I would encourage everyone else to do the same. Because you see, this is a pattern in this dump. This is how this goes. People do horrible shit. Hey, Kathy P. People do horrible shit. Like all the other tragedy pimps, standing in front of people's houses, acting the goddamn fool, disturbing the peace, quite literally, of an entire neighborhood because somebody who's got, right here, this is how much, fucking brains I think that one has, about as much as this rubber duck, but this duck is cuter. Based on, just somebody gets a notion. And then that's their right in their mind to go and just be a vile, up until SCAB-GIRL, Betty, I know you've probably never in your life written a thank you note because you're just this side of feral as far as I'm concerned. And that depends on what day you ask me. Hi, Nisi. But get out your crayons and you're pretty, I know you like to make posters, like you like glitter and stuff. Yeah, you need to send SCAB-GIRL a thank you note because, hey, Bluntby, because up till now and what her sick ass did, you held the first place trophy for most vile tragedy pimp. Hey, Christina Logan. Hi, Flip Flops. Oh, yes. And Zav, hey, Queen Bella. Zav has a storied past. That bitch should have been in check. She should have been put in check a long time ago. And I don't know what the statute of limitations is. And I don't know if there is a case. But, oh, boy, if I was Kylie Rodney's family, from where I'm sitting, I saw a whole lot of people who looked like they were intentionally inflicting more emotional distress on a family in the name of money and channel growth. People like that are the reason I won't monetize. That and I'm not a broke bitch. I don't need money. Not on here. And I don't have a problem with legit good creators getting paid for their time and the work, because it is a lot of work. But I will never be lumped in with those shit bags. So nobody's ever going to point the finger at me and say, well, you're just trying to make money off of this too. But this community has been on a real slippery slope for a while. Since that scumbag Betty and her nasty bunch rolled on in here and decided to, take this bitch over. Not that they've taken it over, but they have put a stain on this hood, so to speak, okay? And the typical pattern, this is how it goes. Somebody does something really gross. The majority of people are perfectly happy to sit in chats and talk about how bad it is. And yes, it's terrible. They suck. They're pieces of shit, blah, blah, blah. And then in a day or two, it's forgotten and everybody moves on to the next thing. And then shockingly, the next thing is worse. And I understand that there is terms of service, okay? Because YouTube has to do that. That covers their ass. That's their protection. It's more about YouTube's protection than it is about what we do. Because clearly, there's a whole lot of grimy shit that goes on here. But, I know how I've seen things work in the real world. And whether you're a group of friends, whether you're a neighborhood, whatever the case may be, when somebody, kind of like when a registered sex offender wants to move into somebody's neighborhood and the neighborhood finds out about it and they say, oh, hell no, not here. Keep it moving. Hey, Krabby, how are you? I haven't seen you in a long time. Hi, Rowena. Oh, God, please let her go back to TikTok. Bitch, I will buy you a first-class ticket back to TikTok. We don't need you. Nobody needs you. You do nothing but spread the misery that is you all over YouTube. And the longer that the people who do not agree with all these antics and these vile tactics these fucking dirtbags, scumbags use that make all of us look bad, well, as long as we just keep on letting this go, and I realize, short of what I'm sitting here doing right now, there's not much else we can do. But we don't do enough of this. Because to me, if you make it plain to people, they're not welcome in your hood, well, usually they'll move on and find another one. And I'm sorry, I read you the comment of remember our little friend here, the duck? He's absolutely, Betty is only moderately smarter than her subs, okay? I mean, you've got somebody who's such a dim bulb in the chandelier that she wants to know if a letter written to whom it may concern of this, very important plea, do not destroy that building in Idaho. And she needs to know, should she send it to Idaho or her state? And she ain't a one-off. No, she's not. In fact, Emmy, I listened this morning to the video you tagged me in. And I left you a comment. And Betty said something about, she was jumping on trying to exploit that amazing young lady that stopped on the interstate. What was her name? Carly? Y'all, I haven't watched except one video about that. I'm very glad she's been found. Thank God. But of course, I'm sure Betty saw dollar signs. So here's what makes me crazy about these people. I hate liars and I hate posers. Betty has a seeming 8th grade grasp, 8th to 9th grade grasp on the English language that we speak. Punctuation is non-existent, usage and grammar abhorrent. But she wants you to believe that she's a journalist, that she's an advocate, that she's this, she's that, she's the other. She is none of those things. Not by acknowledgement, kind of like when you're doing a dissertation, you have to appear in peer-reviewed articles. I don't see any of those organizations that she tells people she's, seemingly a member of, because I assure you, I don't know what it's called, but victims' rights advocates, they have a professional body. I don't know what it's called, but I will guarantee you she is not a member. She can tell me all day long she went to college. I don't have to believe that. And I don't believe that. Because holding up a piece of paper, which, by the way, I've never seen her do that either. But even if she did, I wouldn't give a shit, because anything can be Photoshopped. But even if she held up a piece of paper that said degree from finance company that gives you a degree if you're dumb enough to finance your education at what is probably the rate of usury here at our esteemed institution of higher learning, I wouldn't believe it anyway, because I go by what I hear and what I see. And she does not speak as an educated person. And anybody who is even moderately educated would agree with me. I mean, she starts off that clip that Emmy sent me, and she says, use them social media accounts to share. Use them social media accounts. I'll just leave that right there. And you know what? I know there's going to be people who are like, you want to be the grammar police? That's so stupid. It doesn't matter. It does matter. It matters to me. It doesn't have to matter to you, but it matters to me. Because you see, of all the things I've ever said about Betty, and I'm sure she says a lot of things about me too. I'm sure there's lots of people who have lots of things to say about me. One thing none of those people will ever say about me, nobody is ever going to say, God, is that bitch dumb? And that's the one thing I care about. So, I was actually going to read kind of like an open letter that I penned to the aforementioned tragedy pimps. It was on my community page. And here's the thing, y'all. I know that, here it is. I know that a lot of people, if you're like me, you don't even see half the community posts if somebody doesn't tag you. So I'm going to read it because I took the time to write it, and there's a reason I took the time to write it. So in terms of how many people are subbed to me and in comparison to how many actually have seen that, the number is very low. And it's not, listen, I'm not griping about it. It's just a fact. And it took me some time to write it because, unlike Betty, I do use proper English, grammar, punctuation, etc. So if I felt important enough to take the time to write it, I feel like I am going to read it. So here goes. And as you can imagine, at various points throughout this, there are all capital letters and bolded words. I'll let you decide, what's what. Attention, this was after Brian Etten. This was the day after Brian Etten came out and dragged SCAB-GIRL. And for all of you who maybe haven't fully appreciated what, and yes, more people need to do it in the mainstream media. More people need to call this bullshit out about these ass clowns running around telling people they're the press. But it was a huge step that he did it. And not only did he do it, he got his point across. He can't sit up on his platform and say what I say, the way I say it. But there was no ambiguity in what he said. Hey, independent thinker, how are you? Hey, SoFlo, I am. You know what? I went, hey, Pulame, no effing way. How are you? Oh, is that really what she said? Fuck her. God almighty. Sorry. Back it up. When I said she couldn't, make it worse, she did. And then she made it worse again. So I'm going to read mine. And then I'm going to read, y'all do not, no effing way. When I finish reading this community post I made, put that back. Remind me in the comments to go read her community post because I want to read it out loud. So this came a day after Brian Etten had his interview with Al. And I tagged SCAB-GIRL, and I tagged Betty. Attention, all tragedy pimps. Oh, and I actually tagged Brian Etten too. Brian Etten, a god amongst men. Now, listen, did I overstate it a little for dramatic effect? Yes, I did. But remember what I said about this kind of shit has gone on in this world from the beginning of time. And it's gone on in the not so distant past, where millions of people were slaughtered because the good people were afraid to stand up and put a stop to it. So obviously this is a much different scale and situation, but it's the same thought process. And those that do not remember history, it's bound to be repeated. And we're already on a real slippery slope of apparently anything goes. Attention, SCAB-GIRL. Oh, sorry. Attention, all tragedy pimps and their subs. Take a good long look at how a true journalist and ethical professional conducts himself. Take it all in. All of you dirtbag tragedy pimps. All of you disgusting, amoral, depraved, and morally bankrupt POS cronies masquerading as YouTube content creators. You know, the ones who seem to specialize in spreading around their own special brand of misery under the guise of advocacy, journalism, DIY legal professionals, citizen detectives, etc. Those who are colloquially referred to as tragedy pimps. Yes, the ones who have somehow managed to dupe people dumber than they are into believing they are actually qualified to opine on most, if not all, of what they speak. What makes them qualified, you ask? Duh, just because they say so. Clearly, many of you all apparently need an exemplar to look to because you're not bright enough to figure out on your own that most of these tragedy pimps are not only unqualified and or uneducated and in no position to be talking in any professional capacity. They are oftentimes nothing more than former and or present criminals, many of whom are living off the largesse of those of us who actually pay income tax. So people like them can claim disabilities of various and sundry natures and supplement their welfare EBT monthly payments playing YouTube blank, insert career and or qualifications of your choice here. This monologue of Brian Enton's regarding his thoughts on YouTube's presently most reviled, morally bankrupt purveyor of gore porn, aka SCAB-GIRL, this is what true journalistic integrity looks like. The empathetic mammals out here, you know, those of us who have warm blood rather than ice flowing through our veins. Those amongst us who will not justify using any and all slimy tactics in pursuit of the almighty dollar and clout and or subcount. I'm speaking about those of us in the true crime community who are sick and tired of you tragedy pimps, who are oftentimes nothing more than unemployed losers. I'm talking about those who claim that simply because some ridiculous and possibly now defunct media outlet supposedly issued what they purport are legitimate press credentials, makes them credentialed members of the media simply because they say they are. It seems that not only is it very difficult to get a decent meal, wardrobe, or cosmetic products when one finds oneself serving time in prison, it is also apparently difficult to run a media empire while imprisoned. Who knew? Yes, I am speaking about those self proclaimed journalists who believe that they have the right to call themselves journalists simply because they say they are. Those self proclaimed journalists are the sharpest contrast of Brian Enton. He is a true journalist, one who has earned the right to go by that moniker because he actually went to college and graduated with a degree, which entitles him to be addressed as such. Brian Enton and all of the other legitimate journalists who make up the media, whether mainstream or social media based, have earned the privilege of being entrusted with the heavy burden of protecting not only industry standards, but safeguarding journalistic ethics and integrity. The self-proclaimed tragedy pimp journalists want you to believe that they are also deserve to enjoy the privileges that go along with being a credentialed member of the media. They want you to believe that they should be considered a peer or colleague of the same caliber as Brian Enton, simply because they are traipsing all over the country on the dime of their moronic subs, wearing either t-shirts and hats emblazoned with media or press, or the laminated cards worn on a lanyard around their neck. They don't seem to understand that those of us with an intellect greater than your average houseplant see them as they truly are. Their credentials are nothing more than the modern day version of the trinket prize that used to be found in the bottom of a cereal or Cracker Jack box. You tragedy pimps can call yourselves whatever you like, but real educated people understand that when you barely have the written verbal communication skills of a ninth grader, you are hardly qualified to call yourself a journalist. Also, let's not forget the little matter of ethics. You appear to have none, so you can call yourself a journalist, jailhouse lawyer, self-proclaimed advocate, etc. But just because you have designated yourself as a legitimate member of the media, there is a reason true thinking people and journalists who have earned the right to be addressed as such, they understand that you can proclaim to be whatever you want, but it takes far more than wearing a t-shirt, hat, and or card worn on a lanyard around your neck to be a true credentialed member of the media. And until you are respected by your professional peers and your supposed press credentials are honored by the AP and or Reuters, etc., and are actually monetarily compensated as evidenced by a W-2 or 1099, well, until that time, do us all a favor and sit down and shut the fuck up. You all are the lowest of the low. You and your kind represent not only the very worst of YouTube, you represent some of the very worst of society in general. Bask in the glow of all of your fantasy careers and enjoy it while you can, because the tide appears to be turning against all of you cretins. And just remember this: all good things must come to an end, and the veil has been lifted. And even the most open-minded and or delusional amongst us in the community see you all for the scum that you are, always have been, and likely always will be. Sorry, I had that phone call. They left me a message, so I was just reading it. Okay, so there you go. There's my magnum opus. Do we think Betty could bang something like that out? Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. JP. You know what that is on my skin? I use fake tan in a machine. I use Venetian. Oh, shit. Norvell Venetian. Double dark, I think it's called. But the reason what's making it glow like that, I'm sorry, well, actually you can get it, but some of it is from the light. It's actually cheap too. L'Oreal, I think it's called Glotion. I'll bring it in here tomorrow. It comes in 4 shades. It's like a tinted moisturizer, but it's very glowy. Oh, Gina, yes. And girl, don't you feel like you lost 5 pounds? I mean, listen, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of magic that when you get some color, Veda, take a note. Now listen, don't get excited. I didn't say it's a friggin' magic wand. You still might want to call Jenny Craig, but you know, it does. It makes you feel like you lost 5 pounds. My mother-in-law, who's actually coming by today, she told me something once. She told me 2 things years ago, and they're both, oh my God, so true. My mother-in-law is in her 80s. And my God, let me tell you something. She's my biggest fan. And I'm not kidding. And if you don't think there's something kind of like, why does my 82-year-old mother-in-law know who Benny Keys is? And ask me about him. And everybody else. But 2 things she told me. Fat looks better tan, always. And probably more important, and her mother-in-law told her this. My husband's grandmother said this to my mother-in-law, and she told me. This was some more recent, maybe the last decade or so. Life is 95% anticipation. And it is so true. Think about it. If you don't have anything to look forward to, or like something you want that you can see down the road, there you got. So, oh, sloth, hi. Oh, Zen, listen, it's hilarious. My mother-in-law, she's been on a diet her whole life, okay? And she's not fat. I mean, she's not a supermodel, but she's not like obese or anything. My husband will say to her all the time, my mother-in-law is the queen of the dupe. Okay. So if she's on her diet, which she's always on a diet, she'll come over and she'll say, oh, I found a way to make some kind of like cherry coffee cake using, this fake flour and blah, blah, blah. And my husband's always like, why do you care about this shit at your age? What are you doing? You need to get in your bikini next week? What's going on? Oh, vanity. Yeah, I know I won't be letting go of it anytime soon. Another funny thing, a friend of mine told me, he's dead now, but Mike, rest in peace. He was one of my best friends. It was her boyfriend at the time, and he said the three of us were out to dinner, because I was, single at the time, and I was way more high maintenance than my girlfriend. But he looked across the table. We were talking about some beauty or Botox or some bullshit, whatever we were talking about. And he just kind of started chuckling under his breath, and he looked across the table at me and he goes, I know I love vain women because they never let themselves go. Like, he's not wrong. I'll tell you what, my mom's in her mid 70s, and my mom's pretty amazing. My mom like does freaking boot camp at the gym. My mom's like dragging her. I'm like fucking Cleopatra on my couch eating grapes and watching YouTube all day, fanning myself. And my mom, who's, quite a bit older than me, is off pulling tractor tires at a gym somewhere. I'm like, wow, it's pretty bad when your mom's got you way outdone in the fitness department. But yeah, my mom's still like hair dyed, keeps up in shape. She looks great. I mean, most people do not believe how old she is. Okay, so actually, Gina, my mom and I, if you were in a room with me and my mom, nobody would have to tell you that lady across the room is related to the other lady across the room. I am, not only do I look exactly like my mom, I sound exactly like my mom, which was fun when I was younger. And my dad would call home from the office and he'd say, oh, hey, I don't want to use her name, but we'll just call her Betty. Hey, Betty, did the kids? I'm like, Dad, it's me. Oh, Lisa, is your mom there? I told him one time, I'm like, damn, if I wanted to wreak havoc on your life, I think I could. Okay. All right. Now, Zav, let's read her post. Oh, I can't wait. I'm sure. Let me guess. Is it incredibly unaware and okay, let's see. SCAB-GIRL. Do you guys like my thumbnail I did? I cannot believe, has her sub count gone up? Holy shit. I tell you what. Okay, here is the only community post I see. Monetization is off on this video and has been off this whole time. If you don't believe me after this, I really can't do anything more to convince some of you. You just aren't going to believe anything I say. You're right. That's the first thing I've heard you say that makes sense. Even when I show you, but I'm trying my best. I'm sorry. No, if you were trying your best, you would shut the hell up. You just can't get out of your own way. My God. Oh, and for the coup de grace. But I think I'm going to move on now. Well, isn't that fucking lovely? That you can just move on. You've decided you're just going to move on. You ought to move on right off of YouTube. That's where you ought to move on to. You know, it's interesting because I'm pretty sure Gannon's family, yeah, they're probably, much as they would like to just move on and try and pick up the pieces of their destroyed lives. You know, something tells me it's just not going to be as easy for them. And you are so fucking callous and like you really should. You know, you said you were doing some soul searching. Well, as I said the other day, that would have to assume the premise that you have a soul to search. I don't believe you do. But if you think you do, I can tell you this. This dump right here, YouTube, it's not a good place for you because you've already done some incredibly bad things. And if I were you, you should get off of YouTube and search what you say is your soul. And maybe find out, because when I look at SCAB-GIRL, I see nothing there. And interestingly enough, the video that I was going to queue up here from Nerd Report, I think his name is Lewis, he said the exact same thing. You're like, the lights aren't even on. Like your eyes, like I see nothing behind those eyes. They say the eyes are the window to the soul. I believe it. You guys can continue to talk about this, but I'm not. I'm sorry for the pain I caused the family. Yeah, I don't believe that. I think that if you were sorry, you would have day one, immediately when you started to see the comments. I mean, just the fact that you couldn't figure this out on your own tells me that you should not be on YouTube. Not in this space. Because you lack compassion, you lack empathy. As far as I'm concerned, you lack humanity. And you should never be given the opportunity to stick your nose into somebody else's tragedy. This is not your first rodeo. It should absolutely be your last. And the fact that this bitch could be so callous and so stupid as to think that making this community post is this is the problem. See, she doesn't get it. She is so out of touch that like, there is nothing up here. There's nothing here, more importantly. There's nothing here. And seemingly not much here to tell her. You gave a horrible, god-awful, insincere apology. That was not apology. It was damage control. You saw the way the tide was turning. And because you have no emotions, seemingly, you did a very bizarre, like pre-recorded for a woman who has live streamed 8, 10, 11, 12 hours at a time, exploiting someone's missing child, someone's dead child. I mean, am I the only one who finds it incredibly ironic that I muster up more emotion and feeling reading her stupid community post? Hell about her god-awful top and her fucked up eyebrows. I have more emotion for that than she can muster up. She can't even like dig down deep in there and put on a, by the way, you're a terrible actress, so just stop. Stop. And I mean it in all sincerity. It is troublesome beyond words that this bitch cannot just stop. She cannot get out of her own way. She cannot stop disrespecting this family. I'm done talking about this now. Oh, let me tell you something. I hope, and I did donate money, and I'll probably keep donating money. And I hope, and I don't care what Gannon's father does with the money, but I hope he sues your ass into oblivion. You need to be made an example of. And more importantly, I hope that, see, because this isn't the sign. Well, we're not in a gated community, that's for sure. The the sign on the street sign to Krama, and bitch, you're Krama, okay? Save it. It doesn't say SCAB-GIRL way. And I'm not your peer. You are not my peer. You may have 86,000 times more subs than I do. I don't care. That's not why I'm here. Reading ass clowns and evil bitches like you, because in my opinion, you are evil. You're like my Sudoku or my New York Times crossword puzzle. Because this is my useless talent. Sometimes it's not so useless. And if I can come in here and, keep my synapses firing and the neurons all going in the right direction, and tell some wretched bitch what she needs to know about herself, well, then, I don't know, I guess it's not so useless, is it? So I'm not here for any of the reasons you are. Hey, Fairy Dust, how are you? Hi, Pugs. Oh, that was very sweet of you. Hi, Allie. Hi, Be Still. I encourage anyone who has the ability and or the desire to contribute where you can. Al has a GoFundMe. I believe Lanton does. And Queen Bee has also got, she doesn't have a GoFundMe, that's a PayPal, because she's defending a baseless, frivolous lawsuit against Betty. And oh boy, bitch, I hope like hell you have also opened up Pandora's box. Because guess what, Betty? Well, as a legal professional, you ought to know. Discovery. Yep. Oh boy, I bet some interesting things is going to come forth from those documents. So there you have it. But it's, I just cannot believe. Please do not let this soulless bitch walk away from this. I mean, okay, that's it. I'm done. I've heard enough. It's over. It's done. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm moving on. Don't let her move on. I'll tell you when I'm moving on. Like I said, when someone I give a shit about asks me to stop. Now, I'm not going to be it's, you know, I do think a lot of people are desensitized to, hi, Nancy B. I think a lot of people are desensitized to the garbage that goes on around here. I am not. And in society in general, I am not. But to me, what she did, that is so beyond desensitized. That's not desensitized. Absolutely. Hippiporium is 100% correct. Y'all go through your subscriptions and get rid of the bad actors. Yes, Fairy Dust. Y'all put some blue hearts in the chat for Gannon, for his family. And honestly, I will never understand it. And I really can never understand it from a parent who, if you do not find this absolutely vile, disgusting, cruel, depraved, evil, something's wrong with you. We are not all wrong. And I don't give a shit about semantics. None of that matters to me. Whether it was free, whether it was paid, whether she requested, whether the clerk just sent them, whether they were already out there, they're nothing new. Really? That's the one I don't get right there, because then what's the problem, Zav? If all of this was already out there and it was on TV and it was everywhere, what's the problem? Somebody bounce Mike. Mike, I'm not doing this. I don't know why you insist on this. I really don't. I am never anything less than incredibly gracious to you. And you come in here and you disrespect me by stirring up the chat, just stop or leave. It's that simple. I mean, frankly, I don't know why. I don't know why you come here. I mean, are you Betty? I don't get it. Because you can just watch on the replay. You don't have to watch it live. And you don't have any respect for me because you come in here and you do this every day. You know how I feel. When it's a funny ha-ha, you put up your little bullhorns and blah, 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 whatever. I never say anything until it gets to where you are making comments and remarks that offend me. And I told you in the beginning when I talked about this the first time, Gannon and the autopsy photos, that it was going to be zero tolerance. Yeah, no, Gina, I know. He always tells me that, but he can look at me on the replay. Like, he doesn't have to look at me live. And it's like, I mean, clearly you don't have any respect for me. So yeah, the thing is he, it's been a long running joke with Mike that, I'll always ask him, does Betty know about us, Mike? Can you imagine Mike doing what I let him do in here? Can you imagine him doing that over at Betty's? Oh, come on. And every time he gets bounced, I say, bye, Mike, see you tomorrow. Oh, fairy dust. Zav said she got those records for the purpose of Leticia's interviews, etc. So why then didn't she do content on that? My guess would be because she's probably full of shit. I don't know. I don't doubt that she wanted all that. Listen, she creeps me the fuck out. Okay. I'm sorry. She just does. She has a very bizarre affect. She's flat. I think she has a flat affect. I don't see anything behind these. That's why she does so much of this. I mean, she has always creeped me out. Always. I have never understood, like what Nerd Report said. He said, I was going to play, let's just play a little tiny clip of it. History. Well, dang it, where is it? Oh, hell, I must have listened to it on my personal channel, and now I don't see it. We'll just go to Betty. But anyway, the Nerd Report, is it Nerd Report? He seems like a really nice guy. Hey, Nonsense, how you doing? Oh, Nisi, you agree with me? I do. I absolutely feel like that. Yeah, there's that. She's got a real weird affect. Very strange. Oh my God, that's right. The video where she was like, is that Gannon screaming? Fuck her. Y'all, listen, there's only so much I can do. I will do it. These people don't scare me. But I can't be the only one. Me and the glare. And I know we're not. I know there's lots of people that are talking about this, but everybody needs to let her know that if she had Oh, Nisi has actual psychological education. You know, Nisi, what's interesting is I know at one time she had a real big cheerleader who is a shrink. I don't know if they still are, but I wonder what she'd say. I don't have, unlike Betty, I don't have my, oh no, actually I do have a course in psychology, actually probably more than one. Although I know to get my degree, I had at least one 3-credit hour course. But I don't think I need to be a shrink to look at her and I mean, y'all, I'm Botox to the gods, and I can still have some emotion on my face. So I've always thought that, hey Tia, I've always felt like she's just got a real weird, like, and I know lots of people that are, just very calm and measured people. Hell, some of them are in my family. Not like that. So, oh, you like my hat? Thank you. I got this at Target a few months ago. I have so many hats. I love hats. And this morning I saw this one. I was like, ooh. See, I get so much shit and then I put it away. And especially hats, like I'll stack, I stack them by brim. And I meant to wear this a long time ago. Okay, so shall we pull up bitch hole Betty on one of her many rants? Let's see. Oh, yeah, here we go. I think I have it queued up. We're going to make this full screen. I'm going to remember to actually share the screen this time. Oh, Emily, no, let me look at your comment above. Okay, she showed his body in her crime scene video on YouTube. Just casually says, oh, there's Gannon, then on to the next pic. No trigger warning. Not that it is okay. She had it on there. She's disgusting. Listen, she needs to go. Although, Nisi, maybe you can answer this question for me. I started this thought the other day. I did not take it where I wanted to, so I'm going to now. Since we're talking about this, I told her that since she's such a fan of science, well, medical students learn through people who have donated their bodies to science. The Body Farm at the University of Tennessee, which, yes, I have driven by many times because I have family that lives in Knoxville. The Body Farm is kind of close to where the football stadium is. You can't see anything. It's, big, tall fence. It's not, you would never know. So since she's such a fan of science, well, my goodness, I mean, maybe she should consider donating herself to the advancement of science since she's such a fan of science and it's all about the science. Hey, Heels. Oh, thank you, my friend. Target. I'm wearing, listen, that's like, this, y'all, this is me, okay? I don't run around every day of my life in pencil skirts, and I wear jeans. They're usually ripped up, and I mix the high with the low. The hat, dirt cheap. The shirt, fairly cheap. Jeans, somewhat cheap. Shoes, not cheap. And I always do that. You should always mix. Don't ever be afraid to mix the high with the low. Okay, so I said one of the comments I made to her the other day along these lines of Well, if you're so interested in science, well, then perhaps you should, leave yourself to science. But perhaps if she was, interested in something in the more immediate, well, why not go get a job at the medical examiner, crime scene analyst, etc. Mortician. I don't know. Here was my question. Oh, Firefox. You know what? So is Duke Farrow. And I like Duke Farrow a lot. And he also has Asperger's and has said something similar to your comment. So I tell you what, a lot of people with Asperger's are incredibly brilliant. And God dang it! There's a ledge on my chair and I've got my heel resting on it. It keeps falling off. Yeah, and Firefox says, even with Asperger's and sometimes having trouble reading a room, Firefox had no problem reading this room. So here's my question. Now, I know not all of those fields I just mentioned, but certain ones, and maybe all of them, I don't know. I thought, I wonder, is there some kind of, let's just say, psychological screening process they use to perhaps weed out those that, let's just say, maybe have too much of an interest? Is there such a thing? I would think there is, or should be. Heels, I'm going to listen to I started your video this morning while I was doing my little chores, but I only got as far as you wanted 5 Big Macs. It was in the very beginning, but I am going to listen to it today because I still have things to do. So when I walk out of here, I'm putting my AirPods in and I'm going to listen to you from yesterday. Nisi, I actually, I have a family member who is the exact same thing Joe Scott Morgan was. My family member is retired. He did that for about 2.5 decades for one of the largest counties in the country. JP, I have given Vajaja, Veda, Jada. Yeah, that. I go, oh, I keep telling these bitches, listen, people actually pay me for my advice. Oh, I miss you too, girl. No, Joseph is not my family member. But my family member was the same thing Joseph Scott Morgan is, a legal medical death investigator. Heels. This before, it was in the very beginning of the stream. I said that yesterday I was YouTube free, and because of the Gilgo Beach killer being arrested, I thought back to a series that I watched several years ago on A&E called The Killing Season, and Trisha was featured in at least 2 of the episodes. She was there in person, and at the end of every episode, it said, you know, if you have information, contact whatever legal, police department, sheriff, whatever it was, of the subject of that episode. And then it always said, and visit websleuths.com. So that was very, oh, girl, I couldn't sleep last night. I binged it. I watched it all over again. I had already seen it a couple of years ago, but I couldn't remember it. So I watched it all over again yesterday. And then it was after 11 o'clock when I finished, and I had to try and wash that out of my brain. So, like the old lady that I am, I started watching PBS Masterpiece Theater, and I watched Howard's End. Fantastic. Trying to get that, all that gruesomeness out of my brain, but I didn't succeed. I slept about 3 hours, but here I am. All right, let's get to Betty. I have my family member. Heels, that's what I said. When I saw that Gilgo, they were calling him the Gilgo Beach Killer. The first thing I said to myself was, shit, I thought it was Lisk. But that is a lot of the reason I went back and watched the series. And then I understood why there's a subsection of Lisk, maybe, that the Gilgo Four were though they were all found in the same place, relatively, the Gilgo Four were all wrapped in burlap. The other ones were not. So that's why they're kind of designated differently. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. And whew. Heels, have you seen it? My God, if you haven't, go watch it and binge it. Oh, Mom of the Killing Fields. Yeah, I watched. Oh God, that's that one with that hot, the one in Louisiana, right? Not the one with Tim Miller that just came out. The yeah, Niecy. Oh God, I have to. I typically don't watch any of that shit at night. I don't watch YouTube at night. I don't watch murder stuff at night because it does it. Yeah. Oh, what's his name? Oh God, it was so hot. The young guy. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. There's one that was on. Was it on? I think it was on A&E. They only did 2 series. It takes place in Louisiana. Hey, Brittany. That's called. I thought that was The Killing Fields. And it was both seasons. They were covering the murder of a girl who, oh, she had a real interesting name, like a Cajun name. She was a kind of like a society college girl. It'll come to me later. All right, let me get to Betty. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever. Heels, let's do something this week. I'm the only day I'm, oh God, now I have hat head. Ooh, the only day I'm not good is tomorrow. But anytime after that, we can do let's do something. Okay. Share. Am I sharing? Present. Share screen. Oh, there we go. I think I have it queued up at just the right spot. Mike, I thought you left us a few minutes ago. Oh, Audacity. I've told him that 1,000 times. 1,000 times. Oh, Niecy, no, that takes place in Louisiana. Okay, this is Betty's going to start talking about somebody's made. Oh, yes. Now here we have what is obviously a very kind and just a real warm, fuzzy person. I'm so confuddled. What the fuck is confuddled? Whatever. I'm so confuddled why autopsy photos are causing such a fuss. Oh, I don't know, because it's somebody else's fucking dead child that the skank did not have permission to exploit for money. How about that? Like, what do you need? I know that we always use crayons over with Betty's people because y'all are so damn dumb that you don't know whether you should send a note about destroying a building in Idaho to the state of Idaho or to your own state. So I get it. Sorry. John Benet Ramsey's been on the internet for years. Well, Mac J, I don't know about that because I'm not a sick fuck. I don't go around looking for babies' autopsy photos on the web. Apparently you do. So I'll defer to your knowledge on that. And it's gross. Okay. I can't teach everybody how to be a human. I can't teach people how to have class. I can't teach people how to be smart. Clearly, if I could, well, y'all would probably be a lot better dressed.
I know for me is I didn't purchase, buy, look under the hood for any reason, anywhere. Would I have in a scientific? I have looked at a lot of gruesome stuff.
Oh, gee, really, Betty? In what capacity have you looked at a lot of gruesome stuff? Because last I checked, you are in no way affiliated with any law enforcement agency, any victims' right, legit advocacy group. You are not, you're not a guardian ad litem. You're not a friend of the court. You claim to be a journalist despite the fact that you don't speak proper English half of the time. So I'm just enlighten us and tell me, where is it you've seen all these terrible things? Let me guess. On the internet? Because why? Because apparently, for whatever reason, you wanted to.
Me as a creator to explain to you. I have not showed you guys gruesome stuff on my channel. That is the appetite, one for my channel, one for me.
What the fuck does that mean? I have not showed you guys gruesome photos on my channel. That is not the appetite. Well, Betty, you're the gruesome thing that you show everybody on your channel. So there is that.
For a decision to be made. Now, I would hope on my better judgment would not allow me to put.
Oh boy, we're screwed. If all we have to hold on to is Betty's better judgment. Well, Betty, where you been hiding this better judgment, girl? Because you should have pulled that shit out of the linen closet, or your junk drawer, more like it. You should have pulled your better judgment out of the junk drawer a long time ago, because you up until now, I mean, you were the most hated tragedy pimp on YouTube. Or, at least you were sharing the dais with some of your other cohorts, but wow, that is terrifying.
A autopsy of a young child. The reason why I say that is because sometimes we get absent-minded and do stupid stuff.
Okay. Really? Yeah, no. You know what happens when I get absent-minded? Well, I forget to bring my lipstick in so I can, touch up my lips in between coffee. I forget the glasses that are going to, coordinate the best with what I'm rocking today. I forget to, fill my cup all the way up. I forget to put the package that needs to go out in the mail. I forget to put it in the box before the mailman comes. What I never forget to do or become absent-minded with are the autopsy photos that my sick ass paid money that I should have paid to buy an affect. Alex, I'll take Anastasia eyebrow pencils for $300, please. What the hell does that mean? I mean, like they just, absent-mindedly jumped right onto her monitor. Oh my God. Betty. Wow. Listen, Betty. In my opinion, you would do, I'd say that the list of what you would not do in the name of money, subs, and channel growth, well, that list is very short.
Okay, let's be honest. Nobody out there is perfect. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yes, everybody makes mistakes and nobody is perfect. I mean, your hair is a living testament to that itself. Your criminal record is a testament to that. Yeah, we get it, Betty. That is not a mistake. What she did was a very purposeful, cruel, deliberate act done to garner money and channel growth. That's what that was. And only another emotionally vacant void bitch like you would have the audacity to sit up here and try and make this sound like she got a DUI. That's a mistake. That's an error in judgment. Well, you would know about that too, wouldn't you? Getting the case file that you spent a lot of money on, which I think we've already covered, where some of the various places she should have spent that money. But she herself says, I didn't request the photos. Oh, but they were there. And she had the opportunity to not use them and send them back where they came from. But no. Why? Look, a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, do you know, you're another one. Just when I think you can't embarrass yourself, well, your hair, never mind. Just when I think you can't sound any more an amoral dumbass, you up the ante. So yeah, putting someone else's dead child's autopsy photos and subverting not only YouTube, but Patreon, and rerouting people to a Dropbox to do it, that is not a lapse in judgment. That is not an accident. That is an absolutely well-planned, orchestrated move. Where she screwed up is, I guess she thought all the rest of us were as amoral as her. She didn't count on the avalanche of outrage and backlash, deservedly so. That's where she made her misstep. That was her mistake. And you bag of shit, and people like you're the only ones standing by her.
Those sitting on your high horse, give it a little bit. I'm sure you'll be knocked off in due time.
Fuck you. I'm on a horse of which, the likes of which, you will never see. You could never ride. You couldn't rent. You couldn't show. I did dressage, Betty. What did you do? You would be, I mean, if we're going to look at it in terms of horses, I rode English. I showed horses, and I was hunter jumper dressage. Yeah, what'd you do? Oh, you would have been the one with the poor overworked, elderly, either Shetland pony or miniature donkey that you're leading around at every gross state fair in the Kittyland petting zoo. Yeah, you'd be that one walking around in the circle holding the lead of the broken down Shetland pony. So don't talk to me about high horse, bitch. My horse is much higher than yours. And let me tell you something. I know what won't take me off this high horse, and it won't be exploiting someone else's tragedy. I will leave that to you and all your fellow dirtbags.
So she made a mistake. Everybody, it's over with. There's nothing good that's going to come.
And you know what, Betty? I'll tell you the same thing I told Laura. Fuck you. The fat lady, she ain't done singing. And you don't get to decide when it's over. You'd be wise to just STF you. Because for once in your life, you're not involved in some gross thing. But of course, you know, by inserting yourself into it in this way, I mean, like, do you think this idiot ever wonders, well, gee, I don't know why, how come there's only a few of us that feel this way? Because only the people like you feel that way.
Come of this other than making sure that this is not going to happen again. But
no, you know what else good is going to come of this? She's going to get publicly shamed and flogged until we feel like not doing it anymore. That's the only good that can come of it. And she deserves so much more than anything we can do. But this is all we've got, so I'll take it.
I do want to remind everybody this, and nobody's wanting to take this into consideration. I think the reason why she was hit so hard, personally, now, this is just me, again, an unpopular viewpoint, just my comment.
You are a narcissistic, self-centered, insecure bitch who does not have the ability to empathize with anyone. You are cut from the same cloth as SCAB-GIRL, which is why you are going to take up for her and her actions. And thank God you cannot understand this through the eyes of a mother. I would have hoped that just as a fellow human being of the female persuasion, you might have been able to, you know, since you wanted kids so badly. Oh, God, thank God. God knows what he's doing. At least that's what they say. Yeah. So I would say it's you who's up on the high horse. And because so few people like you, besides the 25,000 morons you have managed to cull somehow, you're another one who will do anything to get attention and to get eyes on you, even if it means you have to sit at the right hand of Satan. But you should be quite comfortable there because you've been there many times before. This is nothing new for you.
Okay, I still have nothing to do with this conversation. I wasn't involved in it.
Then why are you talking about it? I mean, if I don't want to be involved in something, well, what I don't do is talk about it. And goodness, Betty, for once in your life, instead of doing what you're doing, you should say, oh, damn self, wow. Well, now this is something new. I don't think I've ever been in this position here on YouTube before. Wow. I'm going to try this on for size. Yeah, for once, I'm not the center of the amoral shitstorm. But do go on, Betty, and tell us about how you have nothing to do with this. I would have just stayed in that place.
I did not participate in it. So all the hate.
No, I don't know if I believe that. I believe that you did not procure the images like she did. I don't know if you have them or not, but if I had to venture a guess, I think you probably do. Whether you, well, now you are one of the only people who stood up for her, and she did publicly thank you. So did she send you the images minus the $3 charge? Did you get like a courtesy rate, a fellow tragedy pimp family discount?
Haters, back up and rage at the people you want to rage at.
I've been raging at the people I want to rage at.
I had nothing to do with this.
Oh, and just for the record, Betty, I wouldn't be talking about you where this situation is concerned at all had you not felt the need to do this.
And I only commented on it. If you don't like my comment, okay.
No, we don't. I don't like any of your comments typically. So that's nothing new.
So what? You don't like my comment. But there are a lot of people, including the person screaming from the rooftops about this, that not only
Betty, everybody is screaming from the rooftops about this. All the decent people are screaming from the rooftops about this. So I'm not sure who it is you're referring to, but
purchased the photos, was willfully distributing them to her friends.
I do not care if these photos were purchased, were free, etc. SCAB-GIRL is the only one I know of who set them loose on the internet for the low price of $3. So I'm going to go to the root of the problem. I'm not going to sit here and try and spend all day finding every single person that I need to put on my naughty list for paying and or receiving and or looking at said images. But not for her actions. Those pictures would be where they should still be, in the court's file, never to see the light of day on the internet or anywhere else for that matter.
That to me is even more disgusting because you're sitting on your high horse screaming about somebody else all the while doing the exact same thing.
Well, listen up, bitch. I don't know who you're talking about, and I don't know who else has got a high horse, because on this show pony I'm on, there's only one of us in the ring, because you see, hunter, jumper, dressage, that's a party of one. You go around a lovely little course. Sometimes they even set up like little fake ponds. They look like little fences. And I have not seen them in part, in entirety, not one pixel, and I won't, because I have no desire to see any such thing. So you're not talking to me.
It's disgusting, and that action to me is just about as immoral.
Oh, wait a minute. Because you were fine with this last week. You gave us all a lecture about, we live in a free society. We have the right to information, an open court system, FOIA, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't like it, don't look at it. She didn't do anything illegal. But now all of a sudden, you are losing your shit at whoever you're bitching about having these photos, and you're all outraged over that. but you're not out. You don't have this outrage for the root cause and the one who set them loose on the one who opened Pandora's box. As with most of your logic, I'm not following.
Right? But nobody looks at that. Nobody has looked at that. And nobody has come down on that other creator except one creator, because that's how I found out about it. Because again, I didn't look at this. I didn't have no knowledge of this.
I didn't have no knowledge of this, Betty. I didn't have any knowledge of this. Yeah. Where was that you went to college, by the way? Yeah. Did you pass ENC 1101, I think it is, or it was ENC 001 when I was in college? Yeah. Well, like, you see what I mean? Do you see why I don't consider you to be an educated person? Because you use the grammar of like a fourth grader.
I literally made a comment after the fact that everybody's trying to bring my name into it as if I posted the videos. No, I didn't.
Well, I don't know about anybody trying to bring your name into it. I have not. The only context in which I have brought your name into it is because you, along with Laura and I think one other person, you immediately, within 24 hours, came out and, told all of us, if you don't like it, don't look at it. It's her right. It's our right. Because you'll do anything to make money and to get your channel to grow. And you thought you were going to get some of the proximity subs, like, oh, well, I'll take up for, Satan incarnate, and then some of Satan's disciples who aren't already sub to me, well, she'll tell them to sub to me. So I'll be able to move my channel, my sub count for the first time in what most people say it's been like a year, stagnant. I am absolutely flabbergasted, and it is beyond all comprehension and understanding how you have more than 2 people who want to listen to your dumb ass. But be that as it may, you do.
I didn't even pay the $3 to watch it.
Wow. There you go. That's all you need to know about Betty right there. She just said it. You notice how when she's really pissed, her voice goes up several octaves. Betty, and just to ask once again, why the fuck are you wearing a sweater? Okay. I was just in your neck of the woods. Well, no, I mean, I was at the Ritz-Carlton. You probably don't even know where that is. But I can assure you it wasn't too terribly far from, I think, where you live, probably within a half hour. And I can assure you that it was like hell's waiting room. And I do not know why you keep appearing with a sweater on. Like, what is that about? I mean, just asking because it's weird. And you're always crying about, how much everything costs. So it seems to me that if you're wearing a sweater, like daily, well, maybe you should turn your air up, pumpkin, and then you wouldn't have to wear a sweater. I mean, that's just my helpful advice. But go on. Y'all remember, I'm on one monitor. I'm in the other window. I cannot see the chat.
Nor did I order.
But that's what Betty was all like. That's where she really got steamed. Was I didn't even pay $3. She thinks it's like that's where she decides to really like bring the passion over $3. She thinks that's what this is about. Maybe to her.
That court file from the courts. So you're mad at me for having a comment? Well,
we are mad at you because you live up to your dirtbag reputation. It's really not, it's not that hard, Betty. It's not that hard to figure out. You are notorious. You are infamous. You were the former most hated tragedy pimp. Well, at least for me. You've been unseated. And you just can't figure. Wait, Betty, it's kind of like this. you are very well known on these YouTube streets for doing very unethical things. So it's just kind of natural. It may not be fair and it may not be right, but your reputation precedes you, Betty. And if you wanted to do your non-existent reputation, if you wanted to do it some good, what you would have done is what 99% of the rest of YouTube did. People who aren't even in this community. You would have come out and you would have disavowed what she did. But that's not what you did. So I'm sorry, your reputation precedes you. Okay. I can tell you one thing, nobody's ever going to get adjacent rage with me about, because you're kind of getting, in a way, she is getting adjacent fury, self-imposed. But I can tell you this, nobody is going to see one of you ass clowns out screaming in front of somebody's house and be mad at me if I come out and make a statement about it. Nobody is going to ever mistake me for doing something like that. So you see what I'm trying to illustrate here?
What, I hate to break your balls, but there's been about 50,000 people that have had public comments on this very same thing. And moreover,
well, I don't know about that, but if that number is, we'll go with her number just for shits and giggles. Okay, 50,000. My guess would be that 49,950 of them were in condemnation. And then the other 50 would be like you.
They have been mixed. They have been mixed.
I don't believe that. And I sure hope they haven't been.
But I think we can all agree that it was in bad taste. It
was, your fucking hair is in bad taste. Your wardrobe is in bad taste. Your accessory choices are in bad taste. Zav's eyebrows are in bad taste. Zav's tie-dye t-shirts are in bad taste. It is amoral. It's depraved and it's evil.
That in many cases, no matter whether it's the scientific side of the community or the
scientific side of the scientific side of the community, pumpkin, they're not hanging out in Bullscorn Betty's chat. You're retards? Oh, sorry. They can't figure out what state to send a letter regarding a building destruction in Idaho. They can't figure out the state to send it to. So spare me. You don't know shit about the scientific side. The scientific side, they're not rolling around these hallowed halls, we'll just say. And y'all, I apologize for using that word. No excuse. I'm not even gonna justify it. I apologize. I shouldn't have said it.
Emotional side of the community, we understand that there are relevant issues for both arguments. However,
no, there's not. There is not. Only other morally bankrupt people feel like that.
I truly believe that this was too soon. 30, 40 years down the road, maybe, because honestly, when I'm reviewing.
Okay, Betty, sweetie, I know math is not your fucking forte, but 30 or 40 years down the road, she's probably going to be in the ground. Okay. I mean, unless she enjoys a very long life. She's 40 years old. I don't think she's going to be live streaming. Well, I don't know. She might have to. But, I don't picture her being 70 or 80 years old and still, getting up, doing the daily grind, putting on well, my God, imagine what those eyebrows will look like at 80. Yeah, she'll be using a red lipstick. She'll be Baby Jane. Yeah, whatever happened to Baby Jane? So spare me. For that family, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's 3 generations down. See, there you go. She's another one. She truly, she's just doing this. It's lip service. And you know why she's saying all this ridiculous shit? because she appears to be another one that has no clue why people are so outraged, because she's not. And I'll leave it to you to decide why you think she's not.
Photos and stuff for this channel. A lot of the autopsy photos and stuff that I look at are not of recent cases.
So you're a sick bitch too, because why are you looking at autopsy photos? You are not qualified. Well, you're not qualified to dye your hair. You think you're qualified to interpret some autopsy photos? So clearly you've got some yucky you like to look at that kind of stuff.
Are not of recent cases, but but in all fairness, it's all out there. And I'm not saying it's good, bad, or ugly. I'm not having a position.
That's because you're morally bankrupt. You need to have a position. Buck up. Put your big girl panties on. Take a position. And there is no indifferent. It's right or it's wrong. It's good or it's bad. Let me see. So put your money where your mouth is. Think you're such a badass? No. Don't stand in ambiguity. Tell us what you really think. Well, it sounds to me like what you really think is it's okay. But you have a smidgen more self-awareness than SCAB-GIRL. And you don't want to, give your channel the death blow. So, but Betty, honey, you're not smart enough. Your verbal ability is not where it needs to be for you to try and do this little word salad dance. You're not me.
Position on whether it should be there or not. You know how I feel that I think there's too much graphic videos, TVs, and other things out there. We've talked about that on this channel.
Then why are you not saying, let me get this straight, you're worried about graphic, what the hell did she say? Videos, games, and TVs. Okay, fine. Even though I'm not quite sure what the TVs part means, but so you have a position on that, but you're not gonna plant a flag on this and take a position. Do you see the problem with this?
At the same time, but I'm also cognizant of the law.
It's cognizant, not cognizant. Whatever the fuck.
Cognizant of hypocrisy.
Betty, stop trying to use big words, or not that those are big words. Stop trying to use like medium-sized words until you can perfect the pronunciation. And it would be helpful if you would also perfect the meaning.
And I just want, if you're going to blame one, blame all.
I blame the one that started this snowball rolling. I have no way of knowing everyone who looked at them. She is to blame. This is a straw man, Betty. When I say straw man, don't just think Betty's hair. No, this is a straw man. You don't want to take a position. I tell you what, I wouldn't be wrecking her right now if she would have just said. And I could actually, for once, I could understand what she's saying here. If she came out and was willing to condemn SCAB-GIRL the way she's trying to, she doesn't want to condemn her, but she wants to condemn everybody who benefited from what she unleashed. Straw man.
And don't sit here on the fence and be on this side of the fence and that side of the fence. If you truly...
Excuse me? She just said, I don't have a position, good, indifferent, bad. Jesus God.
Are outraged and think it's deplorable, then be outraged at all the actors. All of them. All of them.
I only know one. I know one person who set this loose.
Because there was multiple.
No, there wasn't. There was one. There was SCAB-GIRL. SCAB-GIRL is the one who got the images however she got them. Whether they were free, whether it doesn't matter. She very consciously, with malice aforethought, in my opinion, planned it and planned how to subvert the platforms that she knew she would get shut down.
And there's some that still have these graphic images still up. And you still only hear one creator that has apologized twice, that has
If you're talking about SCAB-GIRL, that was not an apology. What I just did a minute ago, that was an apology. An apology is where you do something wrong and you say, I'm sorry. Full stop. You don't justify it and give a million reasons and, oh, well, I'm not so bad. I could have done this and made more money and blah, blah, blah. So, that was not an apology. That was self-serving damage control, because her dumbass finally, after a few days, well, my guess would be, and I am in no way advocating anybody who's doing this, but my guess, the logical place that my mind goes with this is once it hit the national media, when she said she was being threatened, I believe that. I don't care. I would never do it. But I think she realized, holy shit, I need to do something. And for whatever reason, whoever is in her inner circle, either they're as cold, callous, and out of touch as she is, or she doesn't take advice, because somebody who cared about her should have said, let me see it before you push the button. And they would have looked at it and they would have said, Scab, this is going to make things worse. Let me help you with this. But that's not what happened. She justified, she excused, and she never even bothered to apologize to Gannon. So fuck her and fuck you and fuck whatever you think those things were that are most definitely not apologies. They were self-serving, damage control, propaganda, poorly executed bullshit.
that has taken a financial hit from this is the
Oh, there's Betty. Yep, what'd I tell you? Betty, listen, just because you're a broke bitch and you couldn't live without YouTube, you would have to perhaps get a real job, which, gosh, I would think that would be difficult with your impressive criminal record. But, you know, not everybody who's on YouTube, like take myself, for example, I'm not up here trying to get famous. I'm not up here trying to make money. I have just, let's say, found my niche. And my niche is, you know, like they always say, do what you're good at. I'm good at dragging assholes like you. So that's what I'm doing. So pardon all of us if we don't get our crying towels out, because poor Zav is losing money. If she did that to me or someone I loved, that bitch would have that particular problem for the rest of her natural life if I had anything to say about it.
The poster child of what not to do if you accidentally get sent stuff. Okay, she's learned.
Yeah, and then you're right there next to her on that poster. You're not only for your DIY hair, but no, for all the shit you do too. And now you think you're in some position to tell us when it's over. Why? Because Betty and Laura say so? Fuck you.
A lesson. She has paid a heavy cost for that.
Really? What is that? What lesson has she learned? And what heavy cost has she paid? Because from where I'm sitting, The other day, I thought she had 84,000 subs. When I just looked on that Skanks community post, it looked to me like she was back up to 87 and change. I have no idea about financial impact, nor do I give a shit. So what is her heavy price that she's paid? Fucking ridicule and scorn? You know what? All she has to do is push this little button right here and poof. And I don't know, maybe stay the hell off of the internet. Maybe go find a hotel in a town where nobody knows you and do your soul searching there. And then when you find what is supposed to be where your soul is, well, then figure out how to find sensitivity training for those that are not employed and do not have the benefit of a real human resources department. I think it would just be called find a fucking psychiatrist or a psychologist. But, you know, I'm still waiting to see what this big heavy price and this lesson, because from where I'm sitting, she is not getting one fraction of what she should be.
Meanwhile, everybody's looking the other way on all these other people. And I think that
do not know who in the hell all these other people are. Straw man. I mean, what the hell is wrong with your logic process? It's not working, Betty. I mean, we already knew that, as evidenced by, you know, the fact that you want to have hair like me so badly that you will just take yourself to bald trying to do it. So clearly, you know, logic is not your strong suit. You are losing your shit and up in arms about the collective other people. I have no clue who the other people are. But if not for the first person, SCAB-GIRL, none of that takes place. So, as usual, you're wrong.
that is wrong. And I'm sorry. If you want to beat Bullhorn Betty and act like I did something wrong, go do it. Do whatever what makes you feel good. If that's what makes you feel good to put my name in it, then do
it. Well, no, what makes me feel good is any time that I can get a sub from doing the very needed job that needs to be done, that is calling out scumbags like you and her who hurt people based on playing around, holding yourself out as a professional in all these different areas of expertise that you are not qualified. Why do you think SCAB-GIRL is qualified to opine on autopsy photos? She's not qualified to opine on the application of eyebrows.
it. I don't care. The people that are paying attention know I had nothing to do with this, but I am a fair
lady. My goodness. Lady Macbeth. The lady doth protest. Betty, you have spent this entire time screaming about what you didn't do and why your name shouldn't be brought into it. Well, maybe if you sat down and shut the hell up, your name wouldn't be brought into it. You brought yourself into it by sitting next to SCAB-GIRL at the depravity table. Depraved, party of at least 3 that I can think of. Your table is now available.
Person.
You're in the smoke.
I am a fair person. And I'm a reasonable person.
No.
And what I see being done is not fair or reasonable. And if you're going to be mad at one, damn it, you be mad at all.
Well, Betty, when you can define the collective all with more than just the ambiguous term all, I'll consider it. But I'm going to go back to what I just said. Were it not for SCAB-GIRL, all doesn't come into play. None of this does. You ought to get this outraged at all kinds of other things.
You don't give people free passes while trying to destroy another person. Oh, well, she only did it for this reason.
Nobody's trying to destroy her. She is doing a fine job of destroying her YouTube career. Betty, just because your entire shitty life revolves around YouTube and you need this shit like you need oxygen and, dollar bills, you've lost perspective, Betty. I can't speak for everyone or all of them. I will speak for myself. I am in no way wanting to see SCAB-GIRL destroyed. What I would like to see is her YouTube channel go bye-bye and she exits this platform. If she had an ounce of class, dignity, compassion, couth, grace, nobody would have to tell her to leave. YouTube wouldn't have to take her channel. Hopefully that's coming. That's what she would do. But you see, I believe she's a lot like you. She has no shame. She has no contrition. So she'll just take and deal with all the people who are telling her about herself every day. I don't know about you, but for me, I would never be willing to subject myself to the scorn that she is very deservedly getting if I had the choice. That's the beauty of this internet thing. It's not like kids in school who get bullied, etc. You just hit the little X and power down and you leave. And nobody ever has to see her again. If she doesn't have the sense to do that, I can't help you or her.
It doesn't matter. If you're outraged that somebody would pay money, which this other creator did,
I don't give a shit. If it was $3, if it was $300, if it was $3,000, if it was $300,000, or if it was scot-free to every sick fuck that wanted it. Okay? So just so that's yes, Betty, I understand everything for you is about money, but it is not for everyone else. This is a moral issue, a lack of morals. It's not about $3. I could not care less. For me, the money just adds a little more salt in the wound. That's all.
Would view the image, which this other creator did, would download the image.
How does she know what other people have looked at? Jesus.
Which this other creator did, and would distribute them to her friends or whoever sent her an email like this other creator did, and nobody is saying it. They're hailing her a hero.
Let me guess. I think I know who she's talking about. Wow. Well, if it's who I think she's talking about, I would say, girl, looks like you're coming into the home stretch, and I don't think you're going to have too much to be worried about. But Betty, on the other hand, maybe not so much. Ooh, look at Betty, man. Damn, Betty. Girl, do you take blood pressure medication? You're over there. You're like, she's heaving. I mean, I get it. I can, I get very boisterous, but that's just because for me, it comes from here. This one, Yeah, like I said, she sits with SCAB-GIRL.
Killing her a hero.
The only time Betty gets outraged is when it involves herself. That's what I've noticed. That's when you really see her have a freak out like that, and she really like, you can physically see it. But it's always what I see. It always comes from the little bit that's up here. It comes from up here. I never see it come from here, and it's always for herself.
And she didn't do anything any different than these other people you guys are outraged about. So be outraged. Don't say that, oh, well, she did it for the, no, be outraged. If you're going to be outraged at them all.
Betty, I'm not going to keep going over this with you.
All of them. Fair is fair.
When you can get me an
itemized, don't come over here and
Betty,
put your outrage on me when I had nothing to do with any of it.
You took up for the skank, okay? She is like from your tribe, all right? Y'all are pretty much the same. That's why you're getting outrage. Because instead of doing what all the decent people have done, and they have categorically disavowed and condemned her actions, but not you. But you can't understand. Why is everybody so mean to Bullhorn Betty? Because you're a wretched bitch.
None of it.
Woo! God dang.
And I will, and I'm not going to sit here and have some people try to intimidate me from having commentary on a difficult topic.
Bitch, if we could intimidate you out of having commentary, you'd have been gone a long fucking time ago. What are you talking about? Who is intimidating you? I mean, I can't help it that you're, which brings me to, I have come up with a new name for Betty. As I looked at her here, and especially the one either right before or after this, she's wearing those very ill-advised glasses that I'm always on her about. You know, her oh God, Mrs. Claus, her Mrs. Claus glasses. And I'm looking at her, and I mean, those of you that know me, well, you know that I have always, every time I look at Betty, I see Dusty Rhodes, the American dream, if he was a woman. Now, the only reason I have come up with this new name is because apparently I didn't even know Dusty had a son, but he does. And he doesn't, and I can't say that I blame him, he doesn't seem to appreciate his father's legacy being like in any way associated with her. So I thought, well, damn. And you know, Cody Rhodes is his name. And I agree. And I mean, don't let all this fool you. I was like your dad's biggest little girl fan back in the days of 5th grade, maybe into 6th grade. So something occurred to me this morning. Instead of calling her the female Dusty Rhodes, I thought, how about Busted Up Rhodes? ROSE''D or ROATS. Oh, hey, Ellie. Consciously biased. Hello. Okay, I think we're almost done with this. I'm almost done with her. Let me just, I'm going back in this window to finish this out, and then we're going to wrap this up.
And guess what else?
Oh, what?
Guess what else?
What else? What else?
I can handle the backlash.
Well, then why are you sitting here bitching about the backlash for, I mean, you've been like, it's been the poor Betty, I'm a victim show for the last 15 minutes, but now all of a sudden you can handle the backlash. Well, that's good, Betty. I mean, because you do get drug around pretty good. So maybe think about, like, I don't know, some chaps. Please not assless chaps. Knee pads, maybe. I don't know. It'll help with the road rash.
The backlash of what? Me telling you that nothing is going to be done, which, no matter how you look at it, yes, they have possible claims to go after them, but they have to come to the state in which SCAB-GIRL lives.
Oh, my goodness. Well, isn't that interesting? Betty, let me tell you something. They have a huge wave of support, Gannon's family. And trust and believe, if I had to pay for it out of my pocket, we'll make sure they get to whatever state they need to get to if there's a claim to sue that wretched bitch. And you better take note.
I don't even know if SCAB-GIRL's in this country.
Oh, you idiot. She's in this country. Give me a break.
Which would put a whole nother host of legalities on it.
Oh, and are you going to school us on them? SCAB-GIRL, listen, I can't stand you. I do not give two shits what happens to you. But just word from the wise. Don't take any legal advice from Betty.
As well. So let's understand that this needs to be fixed at a government level. It was the government, it was the courts that released these. So somebody at the courthouse made a mistake. Mm-hmm. So let's quit blaming everybody else and let's start blaming everybody, right? It took a lot of...
I have already done that. I have publicly said that the clerk that released these needs to, at the very least, be fired. And I don't believe it was Florida, but if it was, that clerk could be facing a third-degree felony. So I don't know about Colorado. I believe the way I put it was the first break in the depravity chain happened with the clerk, but it could have stopped there. But Zav, that's not what she wanted. So unfortunately, it completely broke when it got to Zav.
Of mistakes to get to this point. So quit blaming one person, because let's say it, we have Colorado courts to blame. If somebody had done their damn job at the Colorado courthouse,
yes,
none of these images would have been out in the first place.
Absolutely. God, Betty, that's probably the second time ever that you and I have agreed on something. Should I write this down? I think I should. Let's see, what's the date today? Today is the 16th, 7/16. Betty and me agree on something. Oh, yay. Betty, maybe there's hope for our relationship yet. No, there's not.
So go ahead and be angry with Bullhorn Betty. You can go ahead and be angry with me. And then I want you to ask yourself, what the hell are you so pissed off at me for?
Well, would you like that in alphabetical order, order of most egregious to least egregious? I mean, how do you want it? I mean, trust me, it won't take long.
I didn't do it.
You are not the victim. And no, you did not do it, but you stood with her.
You know who did?
Yes.
Other people.
Yeah.
And
wow, that's a genius statement. You know who did? Yes, other people. Yes, the aforementioned clerk of the court, first one. And at least that one we do not know yet. I mean, if I had to guess, because my God, we all know about government workers, for God's sake. We've all gone to the DMV, the tax collector, blah, blah, blah. I mean, let's just say the government does not exactly get the most enthusiastic, on the ball employees. Like everything the government touches, they screw it up. So while it has not yet been shown that there was malice on the part of the clerk, there was more than likely definite negligence. However, Zav, what's her excuse? because she didn't have to use them. She could have said, oh my God. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I know just for me personally, I would never want images like that on my computer. No way. Especially not when you consider the fact that he was not clothed in some of them. I mean, I'm sorry. There are things that there's a reason I don't go to Discord, and I will never go to Discord. I don't have a Patreon. I've never used Patreon. I don't do any of that shit, and there's a reason. Because I'm smart, and I would never take the chance of anything being on my computer, whether it was, something like this or something that, listen, people can do all kinds of crazy shit. There's just no way. I would never take a risk like that with my freedom. I just wouldn't.
You know what else? Even people that you go in and see every day and support why they are so vile to every other creator.
Well, Betty, why are you talking about yourself? I mean, we know this. You don't have to tell us this. You do know you're describing yourself, right? You do not have a kind word or a nice thing to say about anyone ever. Anybody who is better than you in any way, which pretty much leaves everybody, anybody you view as competition in any way, for whatever reason, you're just that bitch. You never have you are a chronic, probably lifelong malcontent. I know the popular term is Karen. That's not enough for you. You are miserable. You're a miserable bitch. It's why your life looks the way it looks. So I don't know. You know that high horse you spoke of? Well, remember, she's on the little, this one. Like when you go to the state fair, can you guys see me? I hope you can. If you've had children, or even if you remember when you were a kid, there's always those poor little ponies that are in like the kiddie part of the fair, and they're on like what looks like a big old wheel, and it's got all these arms that come out, and then they've got leads that go from the bridle or what is that called? Oh my God, it's been so many years I can't even remember. I don't ride anymore. And you've always got some dipshit that, is stoned to the bone. Like, he's made a career of the ponies, the fair. Kind of like what Betty's probably her next step in life. But yeah, the one who walks alongside the roundabout of ponies, so we make sure that one of the ponies doesn't get out of line. It's like, Betty, spare us. God, you're so jealous. You're so hateful. You're so bitter. You're such a bitch. Do you ever wonder why so many people can't stand you? Well, I'll tell you why it's not. It's not because of your stupid post you made the other day, but I'm the most searched person on. Yeah, Betty, because most of those people hate your guts. You're not likable, Betty. You're rude as shit. You're condescending. You're jealous. You're hateful. You're vindictive. You're just a bitch. So it's kind of ironic. I don't think you're talking about yourself. I mean, you've been doing that the entire time, but you could be talking about yourself.
They did it too.
Here we are, the collective they again.
They did it too.
Why don't you drop some names, Betty? Because for me, I'm sorry, that's not enough. Collective they. And once again, straw man, straw woman, if not for SCAB-GIRL, we're not talking about this.
And the most disgusting part about it was the only concern that they had at the time was that $3 was being charged for it. So they wanted to go in there to get them, to hand them out to other people free of charge. Now you tell me what is more.
Are you fucking serious right now? Listen, I wouldn't have been the one to do it, but since you've misstated it, let me clarify it. My understanding was it was in an effort to keep that morally bankrupt bitch from making another penny. And that's what she's got the problem with. She's got the problem with giving them for free because this bitch right here, she's never done anything in her shitty life that wasn't that she wasn't getting something out of in the end.
Despicable.
You're despicable.
That to me, no.
I don't know, but the collective they, I don't see them standing over with her like you did. Just saying.
You're not going to be hailed a hero, Betty. No. And you can take your little cockroaches that want to be over here and try to point the finger at me while nobody's pointing the finger at you. And
Betty, if I was a low life, low class bitch like you want to call people cockroaches? Well, I'll just say this. You don't live like me. You don't live like me. You've never lived like me. You're never going to live like me. But I don't call you a cockroach. So you might want to slow your roll on the your childish, insulting, collective. I mean, Beavis called and Butthead's out waiting for you in the parking lot of the Raid and Roach Motel.
Queen Bee, I am talking about you.
Oh, well, Betty, oh gosh, I'm just saying. Oh, that's right. You don't have a lawyer. You're a pro se idiot. Yeah, okay. Are you pro bono as well? Ooh, probably not good for your case. Because interestingly enough, I haven't heard Queen Bee utter your name nor anyone else on that panel. Have I heard utter your name since the process server knocked on the door? Because that's what smart people do. Smart people, they just save it for the judge. All right, is this skank?
You don't want to tell the truth, do you? Because you deserve backlash just the same, don't you? Look over there so nobody sees what you did over there. Well,
God, as usual, you are misinformed and you are behind because I don't think that there was any it was quite out in the open what was done and why it was done. Now, would I personally have done it? No. But your outrage, it's in the wrong place. Because let's class one more time. If not for who class? Yes, SCAB-GIRL. If not for SCAB-GIRL, we're not having this discussion. And I'd be ripping Betty over some other stupid thing she did.
I saw. Oh. And so did many other people.
Yes, you're right.
But hey,
Your
you keep
brain-
going up there and talking about SCAB-GIRL. You're no different. You're no different.
Oh, I beg to differ, you shitbag. No, you're no different. You are no different. Not to me.
You did it too. You did it too. You and your filthy animals over there did it too. So what do you have to say for yourself now?
You and your filthy animals. Betty, you know, it's unfortunate that your looks are not equal to your dramatic effect, because goodness, you could have been an actress. Wow, Betty is outraged. All of the disgusting shit you have done since you brought your fat ass here to YouTube and made this place just a little worse for your being here. And you're really, this is your argument. Wow. I didn't see any of them standing with her like you did. Whoa, look at that.
It's all disturbing, okay? But let's
You
be
are disturbing
honest.
to me. I
Let's
find
be
you
honest.
disturbing.
It is up to the audience. It is up to the audience
No, it is
of
not.
what they're going to consume. Because let's not, you know.
No, bitch, it's not. It is not. Not, listen, I get it. You don't have anything that resembles a real life or real people that give a shit about you. I mean, maybe I hope your mother does. But other than that, you don't have any of that. So this is your life. And as such, you think that everything is content because you are an exploiter. You exploit other people's the worst day in their lives, the worst days they will hopefully ever know. And not only do you exploit them, you profit off of them. That's what makes Betty's cash register go cha-ching. Yeah, I think it goes without saying. My cash register, no, I don't have a cash register. You just hand them something and they very discreetly go behind, you know, a little nook that you can't see, and then they come out with this pretty bag and they just hand it to you. So God, she is a joke.
You know, take away the fact that people purchase for that. What
the fuck? I don't know that I finished that thought, but real people's lives and the tragic things that happen to them, that is not only for the morally bankrupt. Is that a zero-sum game? Like everything's up for this, you know, for entertainment value. Everything is content. The audience will decide. No. And one of you assholes is going to meet the right one. I just hope I'm around to see it.
One person we just named that purchased, right? That actually paid money to see it, steal it, and distribute it, right?
Oh, there's her problem. There's her problem right there. As she stated at least 2 other times, her whole problem with this is the money. That's her problem. Stealing. She actually used the words stealing it.
Right? Allegedly.
Right? Too late for that.
Arses in the situation. I didn't even want to say her name because of the situation, but
you kind of like, oh, I don't know, all your life, as evidenced by your criminal and civil docket entries, you don't have control over yourself.
Hey, as much lies as she says about me, this is the truth, and she's going to have to prove it. Prove me lying.
Oh, well, okay. Well, Betty, I think that you are greatly overestimating what it is you do here on YouTube. And when someone who doesn't spend all of their life on YouTube and has a real job and really knows the law, yeah, you might have some explaining to do, Betty.
Prove me that I'm a liar. But I've already got the evidence. I've already got it printed off and it's already in her file. So.
Oh, Queen Bee, Betty's opened a file on you. Betty, do I have a file? And can I make a request if I do? Please, I'll even send them to you. Can I have a pink one, please? And can you put some stickers on it for me? I know you're good at making like DIY posters, you know? Yeah, can you make, I want a pink one, okay?
It's sad.
It is sad.
It's sad.
I agree.
But at the end of the day, it is up to the audience. If people didn't purchase this, nobody would have been there to view it.
How fucking stupid are you? If people hadn't purchased this, no one would be there to view it. So, Betty, can you make up your mind? Like, you're mad that somebody stole it and showed it to people. You're not mad that the person who could prevent all of it decided to charge money for it. Like, this is what I call circular logic. And I think we're now going to have a new category of circular YouTube logic. Betty, you have lost all perspective on the real world. Like, I know in your world there, I guess, is nothing more than this, but oh boy, that's sad.
Let's be honest. So there's a lot of blame all across this thing. And you know, one thing you can't blame is Bullhorn Betty on this. No matter how you try to flip this around, I had nothing to do with it.
Betty, Betty, why are you having such a hard time understanding this? At least for me. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm not blaming you for the images at all. I mean, so there's that. Like, nobody is blaming you for what she did. What people are blaming you for is for standing by her. That's what people are blaming you for. Betty, this, like, God almighty, it kind of makes things more clear to me as to why she is where she is. Like, because she just clearly does not, like, Betty, you are the perpetual victim. I have not heard one person blame Betty for this. And if they have, well, then they're wrong. Because I think this is the one time in the recent history of gross shit that people have done that has not involved her. But Betty, I believe, as usual, you're misunderstanding a lot. Like, I don't think anybody's blaming you for the images being released. They are blaming you for not, when given the opportunity to stand with the decent people, you chose to stand with the scumbags like you always do.
And it must really burn a lot of hate channels' butts that I had nothing, because you can see them trying to drag me in.
Well, I don't know what is a hate channel. I am not a hate channel. I would have to care about you to then hate you. You are nobody to me. You are content. That is all you are. You are easy content that I have to do zero prep work for. This is the easiest thing I've ever done on YouTube. I just act like we're having a conversation. That's all. I'm a commentary channel. The Glare does the same thing. Just because somebody thinks you are a morally bankrupt, wretched bitch, that doesn't mean they hate you. And it should be branded a hate channel. I mean,
into it. Oh, look what she did. She didn't do that. I made a comment. Me
Yes.
personally have
Yeah, a stupid one as usual. Now blame yourself. Don't blame everybody else for taking the, what every normal person, compassionate person, just, you don't even have to be compassionate, feeling. Anybody who's got like warm blood.
I've looked at a lot of graphic videos and
Oh,
photos.
that doesn't surprise me at all. And Betty, this is another one of these things I don't think I'd be advertising. Because Betty, you are not, I repeat, not a detective. You're not a lawyer. You're not a paralegal. You're not a journalist. You're not an advocate. You're not a guardian ad litem. You're not a foster parent. You're not a friend of the court. You're not a clerk of the court. I mean, I could go on. Do I need to? No, I don't. So I don't know that I would go around telling everybody how many, gory photos you've looked at. Because from where I'm sitting, it certainly doesn't look like you did any of that within the scope of employment. So it would have just been for fun. So you might want to keep that on the down low.
Doing this job. So
What
there's
job?
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Have I reviewed stuff like that? Yes, I.
What job, Betty? Did I miss one? I mean, I know what job you don't have. What job do you have? I mean, I don't think being a tragedy pimp is a job. And as far as you being an activist or a victim's right, whatever the fuck she calls herself, do any of the organized advocacy groups, do any of them claim you? I mean, I'm just wondering.
I have. I surely have. I surely have.
I'm wondering, just to go out and look for missing people. Why would you need to look at gory pictures to do that? I don't understand that. Why?
And you know where I've gotten every bit of that?
The internet? Well, that's shocking.
I have never in the history of this channel ordered one autopsy. Not.
Well, probably because you're a cheap bitch and you feel like you can get them for free on the internet. I mean, that's pretty much what you just said.
One autopsy or autopsy photos on this channel. I may have one. I may have requested Kylie Rodney's.
Oh, God. As if you fucking soulless bitch. As if you did not do enough damage. As if you didn't cause that family more angst with your bullshit. You and all your fellow tragedy pimps. And you just sat here and said you ordered her autopsy picture. You are a sick bitch. There's no, like I said, you can't even, you are not even qualified to talk about how to DIY color your hair. So what purpose do you have with Kylie Rodney's autopsy photos besides you're a fucking ghoul and it's just gore porn for you? Because the case is closed. A determination by a medical doctor has been made. There is no reason except your own sick, weird thing to have those photos because you're not qualified to opine on said photos. Keep talking, Betty. God, you are so sick.
I may have requested Kylie Rodney's for informational purposes.
Oh, informational purposes. Like what? Like what? I don't get it. The case was closed, and I hope you didn't get them. Betty, you're another one. You're a bag of shit, and you're stupid, so you can't get out of your own way. And you just can't figure out, why are people so mean to Bullhorn Betty?
I may have. I can't remember if I did or not. But at the end of the day, I'm not,
Well, I don't know about you, but if I'm someone who has never ordered autopsy photos, but I may have one, there may just be one, but I don't know. I can't remember. God, wow. I love it when dumb people talk. Keep talking, Maddie.
I do look at graphic material. I'm sure many of you, doing research have come across some graphics.
If you're talking about what is on the first page Google search, when there's images contained within the article, okay, yes, I'll give you that. Anything else? No. You're wow. You just like it.
High, ultra graphic material on, and maybe, and you know what? In all fairness, we've been trying to talk about it and bring attention to this on this channel for well over a year, especially as we communicate and talk about our young people. And
all roads lead to Betty. And I think that you should be able to do this, and it's all right. They're out there, and I might have ordered, I had never ordered autopsy photos. Well, I don't know. There might have been one. Oh, but I don't know. I can't remember. And we've been trying to bring this subject up about our young people, Betty. Listen, bitch, you don't need to worry about our young people because you don't have any kids. Thank God. So Betty, we don't need your help in this department. Okay, go away. I mean, my God, she can't make up her mind. It's either a good thing or it's a bad thing. If it's, oh yes, this is just another one of Bullhorn Betty's initiatives. Wow. I have never seen anything like this thing. Honest to God.
How they are unable to handle rejection. And I've always blamed it on the video games and other things.
Well, guess what? Nobody gives a shit what you blame it on because you do not have any children. So you have no idea what goes into being a parent. So there is that. Betty, is there anything you are, in your mind, not qualified to? Betty, I swear to you, if I were going to get a graduate degree, it would be in YouTube tragedy pimps, and you would be the one I would want to do a dissertation on. Now, it would probably be hard to, sell that premise to the committee, but my God, you alone are a case study. I mean, because I've never seen anybody who is like, so what? I don't understand what planet she lives on. I'm just looking at I can't take any more of her. It's been too. Goodbye, Betty. Oh my God, if we could make her go away that easily in real life. Like, I mean, I don't get it. I do not get it. Like, what the hell's wrong with her? If I had that answer, God almighty. Well, children, hasn't this been fun? So yeah, for the ones in the back, I don't really care when SCAB-GIRL says she's moving on. She's done with this. Well, like I said, I'll be done with it when one of two things happens. I'm done with it. or somebody that I give a shit about the ask me to be done with it. If Gannon's parents came out tomorrow and asked that, oh, damn it, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. If his parents, here's the difference between me and them. If his parents came out tomorrow and said, we would like everyone to please, we want this to stop. We don't want anybody else talking about it. Oh, Betty is going to kick. Oh, shit. That broke ass bitch. She can't go to kick because she can't make the money there. Listen, Deanna, my husband told me he was going to get me one. Yeah, they're white and they roll. I don't know what the air is even coming out of the vent. It's just, well, I say this is the hottest room in the house, but my husband's is. And he's way on the other side. But I just kick. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, she can't do kick. This is for her and for some of her other cohorts. I cannot imagine that there is ever going to be a sweeter gig to land in any of their laps that they're going to be able to call a job. Because, y'all, I have worked for myself for almost 25 years. I haven't punched a clock since I was in college. And I worked for an attorney as a paralegal. I didn't do it long because I didn't like it. If I had been in a different attorney's office, I would have. I was in a very small firm. He was a one-man show. And I was actually doing my interning when the attorney that I absolutely loved interning for free for said, listen, I have a friend who's getting ready to lose his paralegal. And I think you should meet him. And if you want to, I will set it up. And he did. And I took the job. And I mean, I hated the office itself. It was dark. It wasn't very big. Back then, you did everything by dictation, pleadings and whatnot. I mean, there were like templates in the computer. He did a little bit of everything, but his main focus was like contract law, nothing. Hey, voices, how are you? The way BHB gets mad. Nisi, there's only one service that bitch can provide that I need. Oh, God. But I just have to believe that when even though I haven't punched a clock in 25 years, give or take, I know plenty of people who have, people whose kids are just getting their first jobs or getting out in the world. My God, they do a damn background check for most jobs. The only jobs I know that they don't is, Emily, I absolutely agree 100%. The lights aren't on and nobody's home. Not from where I'm sitting. But the only thing I know in Florida where, jobs where they don't really do background checks, because if they did, nothing would ever get built. And that is manual labor jobs. Like subcontract work. Florida, especially where I live, and we've had all these hurricanes. Florida's booming because when COVID hit New York, there were lots of people that left New York in droves. Between COVID and all the political shit and the way their taxes skyrocketed. I mean, they were always high, but that, you know. So a lot of people decided to get the hell out of New York. I mean, I have a brother who lived in Westchester County and commuted, which is one of the highest tax-based counties in the state of New York. And he left. He worked on Wall Street and he would, you know, commute in. That was years ago, but even after he stopped working on Wall Street, he still lived there for, you know, many years, but he left. And a lot of people who had homes that they had a lot of equity in, well, when they sold those homes, they were able to take that pile of money and come here to Florida and get a house. Holy shit. That was probably double the house they had in New York, because so many New Yorkers and, you know, other people, other states, but it's a lot of New York, have come here that we are, anybody here who's like a young first-time buyer situation, starter home, it's bad because they've been priced out. I mean, we are building like crazy to try and accommodate. So I know that manual labor jobs, some of it, and some will check, but some of them do not. So I think about that. When you've got a record that looks like Betty's and JLR's and a lot of the rest of them, well, where do you think they're going to go get jobs? Especially making what I'm thinking they're pulling in here. Oh my gosh. Hi, Professor Toasty. Oh, Amy, your parents live there. Oh God, Professor Toasty, you're there. Oh, well, sell your house. You can come to Florida and get a damn penthouse on the beach if you hurry. I mean, here's the good thing. I mean, it's bad for young people trying to get a first-time home, but it's real good for people like me who, you know, there's a realtor that it comes at least once a month. This shit is slick. It is a full color bifold brochure at like 8.5 by 11. He takes a damn drone shot. Your house is on the front cover of this from a drone shot. And when you open it up, it tells you I had one of them sitting here for a while. It tells you how many homes in your vicinity, and it's not, we're not talking zip code. We're talking like immediate neighborhood. They tell you how many homes were listed in the last, I think, 30 days. They tell you the average time they were on the market before they sold. And then they tell you the average, they tell you the asking price and the average sale price. And some of them, many, well, more than half above ask. Because if you want to be around here, which is, you know, whatever neighborhood you're in, if people want to be there, Florida is getting, we're starting to see like in the 2008 bubble where housing prices are going up, and people are paying over ask. So all of that was to say, hey, Emmy, I'm getting ready to be done. I was just wrapping it up. Yeah, all of that was to say, I don't know where these people will ever get a gig like this again. So of course they're going to hold on for dear life. But it's going to be real interesting. Let's just say this, if Queen Bee, I know she's retained counsel. If she countersues, which why wouldn't she? Oh, Toasty. Listen, I could deal with the traffic. It is the heat and the humidity that I honestly, I hate to say this, but I hate it here. My family's all here. That's what keeps me here. As soon as my husband retires, we are going to spend at least 3 months of the year somewhere else, either Carolinas, maybe Tennessee. But we will be getting out of here in the summer. We'll rent until we find where we want to be, unless we find something that's, too good to pass up. But we won't sell our house here because we'll stay here, in the winter. But yeah, I want to get out of here. I've been here my whole life. But so all this bullshit about how I'm going to kick. Well, bitch, you've been talking about going to kick for a while now. Why aren't you there? And here's what I've asked over and over and over, and I've never gotten the answer. Well, I have. I just don't know if it's all of the answer. Amy, no. I was born here, and I will tell you that I've never gotten used to it. Never. The heat and the humidity, that was her question. Don't you get used to it? No. I never have. And of course, as you get older, it gets worse. But it's just so brutal. When I leave my office, I'll go open the door to take the dog for a walk. And it will be like, when I open that door, that humidity will feel like a punch in the face. I mean, it is so bad. It will literally it takes your breath away for a minute. It's smothering. It's just so gross. I can't even put lotion on in the summer, like body lotion, because it just slides off like a damn milky landslide. That's what happens. It just starts running. And you know what kind of clothes to wear, what not to wear, because when sweat is running down your inner thighs, well, sometimes it's better to have on a dress than shorts. Oh, you learn all these little things you have to, tips and tricks for living in Florida. But I have always wondered, because I'm of the opinion that, at least for me, I'm from the school of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Deanna, Alabama. I heard Joneson about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, talking about how brutally hot it was. And I said to they say she's in Georgia. And I was saying to my husband that, I said, oh yeah, the lady with the chickens, because my husband likes chickens. She was talking about the temperature there and just how god awful it was. And he said, oh yeah, it's hotter in Georgia than here. And I said, well, we're further south. Why is that? And then I thought about it and I said, oh, because it's landlocked. So at least here, I mean, where I am, the Gulf of Mexico is a couple miles to my west. So we do get, not that you ever feel it, but let me tell you something, Orlando, here's just a word from a native Floridian my entire life. If you're considering going to Orlando, do yourself a favor and do not go until the winter, because Orlando is probably the hottest place in the state of Florida because it is completely landlocked. There's a lot of lakes in Orlando, but at least on the coast, we get, supposedly that helps, but still hot as hell. But anyway, what I was talking about when I said if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why did Betty and that crew leave TikTok? Because she talks all the time about what a big following. Oh God, Disney in August. When my son was little, I said I was going to write a book called "There's No Happy Kids at Disney World." Because back then there was no fast pass, there was none of this shit there is now, and all you would hear as you were waiting in line, melting to get on the rides, were kids in various stages of melting down, crying, screaming, whining. Then you had the pee-pee dance kids, or the potty dance. Everybody knows potty dance when you've had kids. I gotta go. Yeah. So yeah, I've always wondered, why did they leave there? Because I think there was significantly more subs there than here. And is it money? I don't do TikTok. Listen, it's all this is already taken up more of my life than I would like. So I don't have Twitter. I do not have TikTok. I don't have Facebook. I used to have an Instagram. It hasn't been active in years. So I've always wondered. And something tells me it has something to do with money. What else would it be? But yeah. It's like, when does it stop? When is it? When I look at Betty and her dumbass as a person who's not a dumbass, I'm insulted. My intelligence is always insulted when I listen to her. It's like you lose IQ points. And it also terrifies me because I look at her. I don't need to break it down. All the shit she says and does. And I say to myself, like, we are doomed as a society. We are doomed. I'll be dead, probably. But I have a son. It's like, this is what we've come to. That somebody like her can cull 25,000 people who she has managed to convince that she's got all these fantasy careers that she does not have. And it scares the shit out of me. Like, and listen, I get it. Not everybody's got the same faculties, but Molly's trying to come back. Oh, Professor, my understanding was it was TikTok that outed her criminal record. And I don't know. I don't get it. I'll never get it. But I don't know. There's people in life that there's people who want to, what I call social climbers, people who want to be with people that have more than them, have more money than them, have more brains than them, just have more than, or better than. Then you have the people like what I consider myself. I want to hang around with people that are pretty much like me. I mean, everybody's got somebody that, you know, has a lot more than them or somewhat more than them. And, you know, then maybe you've got some people who maybe don't have as much as you, but, you know, they're good people and you like them and you connect with them for whatever reason. And then you have the people that the other people will just say, yeah, who, like the leader of the dummies. I guess the dummies, even the dummies have dumber people than them, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's we have too short of a memory on some things. This wonderful internet, that's one of the lovely things they've given the world. All right, kids, I need to get off my duff here. I'm having family over for dinner. My husband's out there playing with his new toy, which is a new some type of smoker. I think it's called a Chubby. It's, my God, it looks like a safe. He was putting the damn thing together yesterday for like, oh my God, he must have been out for 2 hours. He had it in the bed of his truck out in the driveway. Yeah, Nisi, I feel that way too. Oh, I don't think that's where it comes from. I think it goes way back, like childhood. I mean, come on. I'm not, that's not just like a jab that I take when I say, bye heels. I'll text you later. I want to do something this week. If you've got time, I think it would be fun. I swear that's what it's called. Oh God, that's hilarious. But yeah, it looks like a safe. It looks like it looks like the safe I have in my closet. It's got like it looks like a miniature bank vault. I don't know what he's doing with it, but he was very excited to get it. And there are 2 very large slabs of, I think they're ribs. Yes. Yeah, it's not, usually he does like a Boston butt. Hell, I used to make those all the time. But yeah, this is a new toy. So some of the family's coming over and we're gonna have some barbecue. And I'm all for anything that means my husband makes it and he doesn't want me to touch it, so I won't have to clean anything on it. All right, everybody. I hope y'all do something fun today. Go spend time with your families. Heels, I will. Tomorrow's the only day that's not good for me because I've got a doctor's appointment and I have a friend coming over that I haven't seen in ages. So, but any day after that. So I'll get with you tomorrow sometime or Tuesday. And I'm going to go finish listening to your live. I got to get past the 5 Big Macs. All right, everybody. Have a great Sunday. I appreciate you all. And I will see you either Tuesday or Wednesday. Bye.